Hey guys, so what we're looking at here is a trajectory calculator. And this is just something that I found online. It's amazing. I can't believe it took me this long to find it. I want to give some credit to Alan M. Nathan of the University of Illinois, who put this together. It's incredible. Basically, so you guys have an understanding of what we're looking at here. This is a lot of physics. From people that are smarter than me, but I wanted to just kind of show you what we're looking at before we get into this. So right now we're looking at the baseball batted ball trajectory calculator. You can see that right down here at the bottom where my mouse is. It has the mass of the ball, which is 5.125 ounces, circumference of the ball in inches, which is 9.125. And then when you go to look at it for softball, all you have to do is change these to match what softball is. So mass with softball, 6.5 ounces, and the circumference is 12 inches versus the 9.125. So anyways, to make a long story short, we can change the values of exit speed and launch angle, and then also if we wanted to change backspin or side spin or whatever, we could do that as well, which I don't want to do that in this article just because I think we could really get in the weeds with this and start playing with a bunch of variables. And I want everything to communicate really well and make a ton of sense. So first, let's look at baseball because we see baseball on TV a lot and we see guys hitting the ball, 100 miles an hour and stuff. And we need to, and that kind of gives us, an idea of how hard it is to hit a ball over the fence in baseball versus how hard it is to hit the ball over the fence in softball. So here's the baseball one, right? So if we just change these exit speed and launch angle numbers, so if I go, okay, so let's say that I wanted to hit the ball 100, okay, and I wanted to hit that at a 35-degree launch angle. If I were to do that, that's going to result in a hit that's 375 feet. Now, I could change this backspin number a little bit, and that would result in some different stuff. But just so you guys have an understanding on like basic neutral atmospheric conditions, this is what we're looking at, okay? Now, if I were to hit the same ball, same softball, right? If I were to hit a softball 65 miles an hour at 30-degree launch angle, and that results in a hit that's 188 feet or 189 feet if I round up. So if that's hit down the line, that's probably a home run in softball. And if it's this in the summer, the ball is going to carry a little bit more. If I have a little wind, the ball is going to carry a little bit more, and you can, legitimately hit home runs hitting the ball 65 miles an hour versus in baseball to hit the ball what would be considered like a home run down the line. You have to hit it at 100 miles an hour at that same launch angle. So now this barometric pressure right here, you can kind of see that he put a tag in that. But that changes like relative to sea level, right? So that's why like if you see like the Rockies play at Coors Field, it's a really hard park for pitchers to pitch in because the balls just go further because, it's more above sea level, which makes the ball carry more. And there's a lot of atmospheric conditions that affect, how far the ball goes. But in order for you guys to just kind of get a good understanding about, what you need to do in order to hit a home run, as far as softball is concerned, kind of that magic number exit velocity wise is about 65 miles an hour. Whereas in baseball, that magic number exit velocity wise is probably more around 95. So if I went 95 like this, okay, at a 35-degree launch angle, that puts it 352. And if you hit it 352 down the line in any major league stadium, it's basically a home run if it's right down the line. If you kind of go more towards left center or right center, then it's not a home run. But it's important to understand that, what it takes to hit a home run in softball and what it takes to hit a home run in baseball are different, right? Ball size is different, which changes how far the ball goes a little bit just because of drag and some other things. But it's important to understand that 65 miles an hour for a softball player of almost any size is it's attainable by the time that like you're in high school. So if you're thinking, or if you have a coach that's telling you that you're not a power hitter and you can't be a power hitter, then to be honest with you, they're just wrong. And most girls that are, competitive players at like the 12U level are hitting the ball in the 50s already. So if you're in the 50s and you're 12 in the 50s, and you have, 1, 2, 3, 4, you have another 6 years before you're a college player, then it's very reasonable to think that you can get to that 65 or even a 70 number by the time that you're a college player, but you have to be committed and focus on it. If you spend all your time trying to be, just the put the ball in play hitter, then you're never going to reach that number. The only way to raise your ceiling is to actively try, right? Like if you were lifting weights and you were going to bench press or squat or whatever, if you just did the same weight over and over again or decrease the weight the next time, you would never actually get physically stronger. You need to keep pushing yourself. So that 65 number, the only way to get to it is by trying to get to it. But it's certainly an attainable number. And it's a much more attainable number for a softball player than a baseball player hitting the ball 100. It's much harder to hit a baseball 100 than it is to get a softball to 65, or even 95 as far as a baseball player. It's harder to get there. And I have some data to kind of talk about that a little bit. It's not super rigorous data, but I wanted to just kind of glance at it with you guys so you have an understanding of, people that are trying to hit the ball really far in baseball versus people that are trying to hit the ball really far in softball, what the success rates look like for those different players. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have questions, please leave a comment down below or shoot me an email.